We knew when the UAW went on strike, it was going to have repercussions throughout the industry and even larger than that. The impact was going to be massive. Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and we have details today of a new plant that went on strike. We also have layoffs. We have lots of things happening. So let's kind of get right to this. Is on pickuptrucktalk.com. 3 words, pickuptrucktalk.com. Check it out. We have tons of stories over there. Lots of stuff to check it out. And the newest stories we have that went live just few minutes ago, because I just hit the publish button, we have Mercedes-Benz supplier ZF as a UAW went on strike. So the supplier ZF that Mercedes uses is now on strike as of 5 a.m. this morning, Wednesday, September 20th. I'm doing the date and time in this because it's very timely what's happening in the automotive marketplace. So the ZF plant or the ZF supplier saw 190 workers walking off the job, causing a probable impact on automakers' SUVs and raising concerns more suppliers could be impacted. That's the thing. So the Detroit 3, if you recall, has just picketed 3 plants. They've picketed the Wentzville, Missouri plant. There's a facility in Toledo, Ohio. They've done, and I believe it's that's Jeep plant. So a Ford. Ford's got the a plant they are picketing as well that builds the Bronco Sport and what other vehicle? I think it is. It's not the biggest deal. It's just these plants. What happens here? It causes repercussions. It causes lots of things happening. And so Mercedes-Benz supplier ZF just went on strike, and they are striking. They build that plant, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I think I said it right. Builds the front and rear axles for the Mercedes-Benz vehicles. Went on strike at 5 a.m. local time. These vehicles include the GLE, GLS, EQE, and EQS. Yes, things that you may not know exist. Vehicles you may not know exist. I get it. There's a tweet from UAW that says that they went on strike. These members are looking for a better end contract, better end of tiers, raising wages, and providing better healthcare. This is a very similar thing that the UAW Detroit 3 strike is focused on as well. So the ZF spokesman said that, not everybody in the plant has gone on strike. Just 190 people have gone on strike. The plant will continue to run. It is worth noting, though, ZF also builds transmissions to the Ram 1500 trucks, as well as many vehicles. The Ram 1500 had a bunch of long history of having transmission issues. Once they went to ZF transmission, those issues basically went away overnight. And so we don't know if that's going to impact there. It's way too early to say. I'm just putting that in your mind that even though the Mercedes-Benz EQ, was it GLE, GLS, EQE, and EQS may not mean anything to you, the Ram 1500, I'm pretty sure, means something to you. Now, this has not been clearly said that it's part of the UAW Detroit 3 strike. This is a separate strike at this other plant. And so what's interesting about this news is when we get some more details on this too, but there is a noon deadline for GM, Ford, Stellantis to make serious progress. I'm doing quotes here, serious progress in negotiations, according to the UAW website. UAW President Sean Fain went on saying, hey, if they're not going to come to the table and give us serious numbers, then we are not going to negotiate. We're going to go out more strikes, more impacts going to happen. Now, interesting enough, other auto news stories suggest suppliers are watching UAW strike closely to see what impact it will have on their operations. And again, if the plant slows down, suppliers have extra supply. They're going to slow down too because demand's not there, and they may lay off more people, or people could on strike and cause ripple effects throughout the automotive supply marketplace, right? And supply chain, as we've learned the last couple of years, if that gets disrupted, holy cow, bad things happen. And so I'm looking at that, plus transportation companies, rail yards, shipping companies. Lots of things can happen from this aspect. Also, dealerships could have a big impact too. Many lower tier 1 or tier 2 and tier 3 parts makers are saying they are at risk of going under if the strike persists for an extended period of time after years of higher costs and uneven new vehicle production. My point on this, and the reason why I bring it up and the reason I keep typing stories on it, is that there are different levels of suppliers. There's tier 1, which would be like a Bosch or like a Takata airbag, or like a ZF would be a tier 1. And tier 2 and tier 3 are smaller ones. They may build the door lock mechanism for your truck. They may build the windshield wiper blade for your truck, whatever the case is going to be. Those smaller part suppliers are really, in my view, the concern here, because once they go under, nobody builds that part anymore. Then you have a really repercussions throughout the industry. And those part suppliers can deliver the parts at a cheaper cost than automaker themselves can build it for. And that is my main concern is suppliers. And because again, Winsville, let's say Winsville opens up next Tuesday. They start building the Colorado Canyon again and the full size van. Well, they just delayed a week for all the parts. So now your parts chain's got to get caught up line. What's happened to parts suppliers? What's going on with that? So those are huge questions that are going to be playing out. And if you don't think your vehicle gets impacted, you don't think your Tesla, you don't think your foreign made automaker is going to be impacted by this. If those tier one, tier two, and especially tier two, and especially tier three part suppliers go under, it's going to impact all your vehicles. This automakers don't build parts; they assemble vehicles, and these assembling of vehicles come from parts makers. That's the bigger issue. Now, also happening is some preventative stuff. That's preemptive stuff that's happening from GM and Stellantis plants. They are also already beginning layoffs because of this, right? So there's some news that came out of the Jill wrote the story up. It's going to be just 1 second. News came out that GM is laying off about 2,000 employees at its Fairfax assembly plant in Kansas. This plant builds a Chevy Malibu. Yes, it still exists, and the Cadillac XT4. Neither of which are big money makers. Doesn't matter. Those not big vehicles. However, why this plant? Well, the Wentzville plant, which is striking, makes the deck lids for the Malibu. No deck lids, no Malibu, no work to be done. Again, ripple effect happening in the industry. Stellantis, that has the plant, the Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator plant in Toledo, which is targeted strike by the UAW, is laying off 68 employees at the Toledo machining plant in Perrysburg, Ohio, and expects to lay off 300 employees at the transmission and casting plants in Kokomo, Indiana. And again, this is just a ripple effect because if one plant goes down, they can't build. People don't want to build parts. What's going to happen? You don't need more transmissions if you're not going to build the vehicles. So that's what's going on. So let's talk about the UAW strike employee rally. The original strike itself affects about 1,270 workers, 5,800 at Stellantis, 3,600 at GM, and 3,300 at Ford. Those are UAW people. Add that to the layoffs from Stellantis and GM, as well as 190 strikers from the ZF plant, looking at nearly 16,000 people who aren't working today. And again, those people, the 12,700 workers, that is just like 3%, 3 to 5%, excuse me, of the overall UAW membership. As Friday deadline comes up, as the UAW self-imposed deadline for GM, Ford, and Ram Stellantis comes up, they want to stand up more. They want to stand up with more strikes. Well, if they stand up more strikes, that's going to impact more UAW workers who now get paid strike pay, $500 a week. I think you guys said me in the comments, which is just enough to buy maybe, well, I can't honestly say groceries these days, but groceries are really expensive. So as those people go on strike and they get less money, and there's a strike fund that the UAW has. But the bigger point of view is as those people go on strike at those plants, again, it's the ripple effect that's going to impact suppliers, tier two, tier three, transport companies, marketing companies, television ads, ad spending. This is all going to be impacted in the strike. That's why the strike is being very serious. That's why we here, Jill and I, are covering this very closely because this is a huge issue. And if you are a company like I am, I'm a company, I'm a business. Every year I buy a new truck for tax reasons, for business reasons. I'm hoping I'm not impacted by this. I'm hoping I'm not. I actually have a Silverado right now I need to sell. I need to get some hail damage repaired on it. And I am really concerned that my vehicle will not be repaired in time because the parts issues of getting those new parts in may be impacted by the strikes. I mean, the hood's got to be painted. What happens when the paint shop and the full-size paint shop in Flint, Michigan goes on strike? Those are the impacts that consumers are going to feel. So that's, again, I'm giving you the information, give you the bottom line, my details of how it's going to impact more things. And we will be following the strike very closely here. Put your comments down below. I'll be curious to get your thoughts, whether you saw this coming, whether you didn't see it's coming, whether you think it's a big deal or not. Also check out more videos over here. Website down below as well, pickuptrucktalk.com. Again, go over there. We're going to cover this very extensively over the website. Lots of details over there. You want to know more, we're going to have it over there for you. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.